Ms. Baker? Here. Mr. Seja?
Here.
Ms. Gray?
Here.
Mr. McDermott?
Here.
Ms. Morowski?
Here.
Ms. Becker?
Here. Recognition of visitors. Left to right for me.
You forgot to call me on roll
I'm sorry.
call. I'm here.
Cheers.
Sorry, Mary.
That's okay.
Angela's up.
Your address, Angela?
14330 : 14330 :
Right down the lot for me.
Hmm?
I'm on 4335.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A neighbor that I didn't know. Pat O'Connor, Village Liaison.
Yeah, village liaison.
Mary Powers,
Address, Mary?
14921 Kildare.
Now, Angela and Mary, do you have any affiliation with any group?
What do you mean?
No,
No? No?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Do you have any affiliation with any group, organization?
No. I guess you can see Midlothian Park District?
Yeah, all right, do you?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
No? In the back row,
My name is John Williams.
you're with our auditing firm.
Right.
We're auditing. Valerie,
As I am here tonight not to speak, I respectfully decline to give my information as I am just an observer.
which is fine.
Thank you.
As far as it is concerned, Angela, is there anything on the agenda that you want to address?
No, I just have a quick question of why,
Just no, just yes or no on that one.
no.
Then we'll leave the discussion to the end of public comment. Mary?
no,
No? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of December 16, 2014?
so moved.
Motion by trustee Gray, second by Jackie. I'm sorry, trustee Urowski. Roll call, please.
Ms. Baker? Aye. Mr. Seja?
Aye.
Ms. Gray?
Aye.
Ms. Jizz? Aye. Mr. McDermott?
Aye.
Ms. Morowski?
Aye.
Ms. Becker?
Aye. Is there a motion to approve the financial report of December 2014?
I make a motion.
Motion by trustee Seja, second by trustee Chu. Roll call, please, Christie.
Ms. Baker? Aye. Mr. Seja?
Aye.
Ms. Jizz? Aye. Ms. Gray?
Aye.
Mr. McDermott?
Aye.
Ms. Morowski?
Aye.
Ms. Becker?
Aye. Is there a motion to approve the January 2015 bills?
I make a
Motion by trustee Seja,
I'll second.
second by trustee Mirowski. Discussion?
Mary Beth, didn't we just get a, well, I see the copier machine. Is that our second one?
No, that's a lease, so we pay it every month.
Um,
For the expenditure for Pat Collins for the women's defense class, I was just curious to want to know what the attendance was on.
Have we had it yet?
Did we have it?
No, we haven't. This is for the second one, I believe, and we
Okay.
have not had it yet.
I thought
We
there
had-
was one in the fall.
There was one in the fall. We had a full house. He can only take 12 at a time because he actually does
The defense.
the moves.
Yeah, it was on a weekend, I wasn't here, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll call, please, Christie.
Ms. Baker?
Aye.
Mr. Seja?
Aye.
Ms. Jizz?
Aye.
Ms. Gray?
Aye.
Mr. McDermott?
Aye.
Ms. Morowski?
Aye.
Ms. Becker?
Aye. Communications? legislation update.
I don't have one.
Board of Officers Committees, Buildings,
Nothing to report.
Finance and Budget,
Nothing to report.
Land Development,
Nothing.
Long Range Plan,
No report.
Technology,
Nothing.
Policy, no report. Friends,
The January 6th meeting was canceled and rescheduled to Wednesday, January 28th. The book sale will take place on February 6th only. We're going to, 7th? Sorry. February 7th only, during the hours that the library is open from 9 to 4 that day. There was a lack of donations, so they are going to place them out, the books out in the library and just do it out in the library. So there will be no preview member sale.
thank you, Georgia. Report of the Library Director, Mary Beth.
I did receive a letter from Secretary of State Jesse White that we were rewarded our annual per capita grant of $18,523.75. As you know, that we apply every October for it, and it's the exact same amount as last year. There's still some speculation through the library world as to whether or not these grants are going to be considered non-essential spending by the governor, so we don't know whether it's coming. One theory is because it may be federal money, that they'll still pass it on to the libraries, but we don't know exactly if that's the case yet. So we got awarded the grant, so we're hoping that we get it. Usually comes in about 2 months after we get the letter, so we got the letter, and you have a copy?
January 7th.
Yeah, last week, 2 weeks ago. So I would say March or April, we should see the money in our Illinois funds account. We did do a couple more things off the to-do list from walkthrough. If you all notice, the plaque is now in the entryway with all your names on it, next to the construction plaque, the big construction plaque. And so we moved it out there from here so more people could see who has served on the library board over the years. And so everything else, there's some painting, he's done first coats on some of the interior painting, but the outside stuff has to wait for the spring thaw. We did talk in our long-range plan about putting wired furniture in the library for people to use to plug in their iPads or their phones or whatever. And I am pricing that with our architect who did the renovation project. We have a couple of nice looking, modern looking chairs and some little end tables that have the outlets that pop up. And so we're looking at color and price for those to see how many we can afford to put around, because it depends on where the outlets are out there, and they're in strange places. So we're going to try and get the most out of each outlet out there. And then you'll notice in your board packet that the draft of the technology disaster plan was in there. We do have the discussion in a later board meeting, but we've been working on this for a year, so President Becker wanted me to get it out to you as soon as we had a usable disaster plan that talks about what would happen if we had no technology, if the building, something happened to the building, or we had no server, no computers, what we would do, how we would handle that. So we took a lot of guidance from what happened during Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. A lot of libraries in New Orleans opened up storefronts just so people could get online and do their FEMA applications and stuff. So a lot of libraries are trying to do disaster plans that way, about a local where they could set up shop and just have computers if that's all that was necessary. That's all I have besides the statistics. Like I said, internet use keeps going up. It's very, very popular. We were up by 300 over last December. Now, it could be partly because last December weather was awful, but it could be that just more and more people are using our internet. So, and also the ebook downloads are going up, which I'm happy to see. That's my report.
I think we need to give a lot of credit to our IT director, Michelle Vanas, on that document that she created. That will always be a work in progress, and I'm sure you understand the way technology changes. She put a lot of work into it. I saw a copy of the policy thing on this fall. And the only thing I asked to put in there was the board contact information. I understand IT, but there are things in there even I don't understand anymore.
Well, and we would have to, notify everybody if we had, you'd know in town if there was a disaster, but everyone would have to know where the plans were and what we were doing.
Yeah, so we have the contact information in our built-in disaster.
Yeah, that one too.
It's good there, so she did an awesome job on that. And St. Michelle's at perfection. That's what she does very, very well. Pleased to have that. I'm trying to finish business closing public library districts.
I got a really short letter from the attorneys that they appeared for a case management conference in the mandamus enforcement proceeding case before Judge Sapero. They advised the court that the parties are awaiting a ruling from the appellate court, and he continued the case to March 3rd. So it continues.
Mary Beth, new business audit results.
Okay, John. This is John Williams, our new auditor. We switched auditing firms this year, so I asked him to come and talk about our audit with you.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Yeah, I'm John Williams. I'm attorney associate CPAs. We're located in Midlothian, Illinois. So we're not too far away or anything from yourselves here. And what I'm going to go through today is just give you an overview of the audit itself, go through a couple of the letters involved with the audit, and the financial statements too. I assume that financial statements have been handed out.
Yeah, everybody has.
Oh, okay. And if you haven't had time to look at it or don't have any questions today, you can definitely contact me in the future too. If anything comes up from your perspective, again, if any questions along the way, let me know about that. Would like to thank Mary Beth and Christy though, as far as with the audit. They definitely helped us out quite a bit through the audit and provided all that we needed for the audit itself, as far as the information and everything too, so it worked out very well from that perspective. As far as the audits, as far as the timing of it, as far as where we're at right now is basically better than we've had in the past, from my understanding, as far as being here for the audit and getting it delivered to you. I think in the future we can get here even earlier time for yourselves to have some timelier information too available for yourselves. So I think that would work out. One thing we did struggle with a little bit, we did try to contact your prior auditor. They didn't contact us back or anything, so we had to a little bit of extra work involved as far as determining what beginning balances were and look at some of the work that was not provided. We did have a dialogue with them at that time and everything too, but that's done. That's water under the bridge, and we're just moving on from that too. Some things that we do with the audit is we go through and test different transactions. A couple things we did this year was what's called a walkthrough, go through transactions such as revenue that you receive over the counter, follow that through on the day, follow that through the deposit. We also go through as far as your payroll, as far as that's processed and how that's directly deposited for an individual too. So we went through a couple transactions and everything went very smoothly. People, our firm and everything worked with Christy to make sure that that was done properly, and it looked like that was all under your procedures and how it's being followed and everything too, so that worked out well. We also do some tests of your expenditures. We'll look through the expenditures as far as testing those, and we'll look through the general ledger, see if anything stands out to us that we really need to look into further. We did go through that. We saw as far as the support, we saw the approval and how it's posted to the GL and everything too, so that went smoothly in that process also. So in general, everything did go very well as far as the audits. A couple things that we have in front of you. One is a letter, auditor's communication with those charged with governance. And that letter is basically our letter that we send to the board, since we don't meet with you during the audit, other than getting an engagement letter to yourself, which shows as far as what responsibilities you have as being an auditee, and what we have as far as being the auditor, as far as what you're providing to us, being the financial statements, financial information, and the other information that we ask for the audit. And our responsibility is to go through that information and render an audit opinion from that too. A couple things that come up in our communication with you is that, again, reiterating some of those responsibilities for the audit. And also to make you aware of some of the estimates that go into your financial statements. They're not really just on a cash basis, but there's a couple estimates that are put into that too, as far as property tax receivable and deferral. You haven't quite received that property tax just yet. You levy for it, you have your lien and everything, but you don't receive it until a subsequent year. So that is a receivable, and that is an estimate that's on your books. The other item is as far as your depreciation expense on your fixed assets, your capital assets. That's another estimate, and it's just based on what the estimate as far as the life of the property is and everything too. So that's also something that's noted in this letter. Another big thing that we go through in this letter, and it would really, if there were any problems, any situations that came up during the audit itself, that would be blurring here as far as we didn't get information, we didn't get other information that we requested and everything, but that was not the situation. Everything we received, everything we requested, we did receive from yourselves. So that went very smoothly as far as that process too. So again, that went very well. As I like to say, everybody played fair. Everybody played ball very fairly, so we were good. The other thing is that we do talk about other issues that maybe we have some comments or suggestions for yourselves too. And that's in our other letter to yourself. It's a letter of recommendations. And this is, our recommendations are really kind of on a graduated scale. That's recommendations or best practices, significant deficiency or material weakness. You do not have material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. What we saw are some recommendations for yourselves. And one is really just an FYI comment too. The first comment that we have for you is in regards to just really as far as categorizing some of your expenses. You have expenses for FICA and IMRF that are pooled into one account. What we suggest is that you just separate that out. They're levied funds, so they should be separated, so we're just suggesting that they're...
Next month, they will be on the finance.
Great.
And then they already are in the levy.
Oh, okay,
We
perfect.
did that last year in the, or 2 years ago in the levy. They already levied separately,
Yeah.
but the accountant was still putting them together on the
Sure.
sheet, so she's gonna change that.
Okay, great. Yeah. So it's a small comment, easily rectified and rectified, so that's good to hear. The other comment is in regards to future standards and for accounting for government entities. It's from the Government Accounting Standards Board. And one standard that's going to be coming out that's going to affect yourselves, the library itself, in actually not until April of 2016, is related to retirement funds and pension funds. And some of the disclosures that are involved with it, there'll be additional disclosures in the notes of the financials, but also there is going to be a liability that makes it to the face of the financial statements, and I'll show you some of that when we get into the financial statements themselves, or the amount that may make its way into the face of your financial statements total on that. But it's not unique to your library. It's for all government entities throughout the U.S., whoever is abiding by government accounting standards. And it really is going to have a big effect on some other organizations for yourselves. Again, it's going to have an effect, but it's something that you need to be aware of and what's going on with that too. And there are some resources that are out there too if you are interested in looking. Actually, I watched recently a video that IMRF has on their website related to GASB 68. So if you're interested in that, it does give an overview, and they are kind of focusing it on those who are on boards and those who are involved with the accounting for this purpose and everything too. But if you Google, what I did was just GASB 68 resources for IMRF employers, then you'll be able to download or at least find that webpage where you can find that information too. The other item I'm going to go through are your financial statements. Were there any questions at this point or anything?
What was that last, Google Gatsby?
GASB, G-A-S-B,
Okay.
68, resources for IMRF employers.
Now, John, since the village is our corporate authority for IMRF, we don't do our own IMRF, we go through the village.
Yeah.
Will it still show on our audit?
Would still show, and it's something that's getting
Yes.
clearer every day too. From ourselves, I mean, we're more familiar with that, it's just a district that does have its own levy for that purpose and everything too. My understanding is that IMRF is segregating those funds for that purpose, segregating as far as the information that they're providing and everything too. So it's probably a good question to have with them directly about this though too, in this process, so we can at least get that all straightened out. Last item I'm going through is your financial reports. And in your financial reports, probably the first thing I usually go to, and that is on page 1, the independent auditor's report. And that's a report that we issue, and that's basically what you hire us for, to come in, go through your financials, go through the systems, and render an opinion of your financial statements. Our opinion is an unmodified or clean opinion of your financials, and it's really the highest report we can receive for that. So we don't rate it 1 to 10, but we give clean, unmodified, or unqualified, whatever it may be, for that purpose and everything too. It states in here again, we keep going through that as far as the theme, but what are management's responsibilities for financial management, including yourselves? And also what our responsibilities are with the audit and everything too, so it goes through as far as an explanation of that process too in that report. Let's see. As far as in the financial statements themselves, going to page 5. And here you can really see as far as where you're basically are compared to last year, 2014 versus 2013. And you really, as far as your total assets, they went up by about $42,000. Your liabilities went up by about $20,000. And your net position went up by about $22,000, which was your bottom line for the year. You do have a strong unrestricted net position, $740-some thousand. And you do have net investment in capital assets, obviously, with the building and renovation and everything too. It comes to that 1.3 million that you can see in the middle of the page there. At the bottom is your change in that position, your income statement basically. And again, comparing 14 to 13. Your total revenue actually went down a little bit this year. Grants look like they were probably double a little bit last year. You had 30,000 in grants last year, 18,000 for fiscal 14, that is. And taxes went down a little bit too for you, so there was a decrease overall in revenues, about 54,000 compared to 13. And your expenses went up about 80,000, looks like, as far as the general library. So your change in that position was still positive at $22,000, but compared to last year, it was $154,000, which seemed to be a good trend for yourself in 2013. Obviously, the dust settling and everything around you after your renovation. You had time as far as what you were saving for, as far as what your resources were going to be used for in 2013. And I think in 2014, it looks like you started utilizing those resources for investment into books and projects within the library itself too, from what I can see. On page 10, this is looking at your financial statements on a fund basis, which is really what you see on a month-to-month basis, on a cash basis as far as what you have on hand. Your total assets did go up by about 87,000 from prior year. And if you look at the bottom, that's really what kind of stands out to me in fund balance. You do have some restricted amounts, fairly minimal, but you do have a strong unassigned fund balance of $766,000 for your total liabilities, or total assets of $1.9 million. And you are debt free, so it definitely keeps you with a strong balance sheet for library districts. Page 12. This is, again, looking on the fund basis for your financial statements. And as we said before, your revenues did go down about 54,000, expenses went up a little bit. So your net change last year for fund basis was 206,000 and 68,000 this year. So there was a variance as far as what your net change in fund balance was, but it was still positive from year to year and everything too. The other item I was going to show you is on page 25. Again, I know I'm jumping around here a little bit, so if you do have questions in the future, please let me know about that. Page 25, this is your IMRF statement. And this shows your funded ratio for your IMRF and what your unfunded amounts is. And your funded ratio is 80%, which is very strong. I've seen as far as low as 50% or whatever's out there, obviously with the economy and investments and everything going down in prior years. Some districts are seeing a little bit different as far as their funded ratio, but you are remaining very strong at 80%. You do have an unfunded amount of $1.2 million. And that amount that unfunded is not necessarily equating with what's going to hit the face of your financial statements with that new GASB statement. But it's in that direction as far as what's actually going to hit the face of your financials. This could be called a net pension obligation. It's going to be determined by the actuary, so it's going to be something that I'm not going to tell you today. So I'll have to kind of go through the voodoo of looking at their census and everything too as far as that information. So, but just to make you aware of that will be coming down the pipe as far as what's going to be hitting in your face financial statements. I think that was basically it what I was going to go through on financial statements and the report itself too. But again, everything went very clean. We appreciate the opportunity to work with yourselves and everything too. And can definitely take questions now or in the future.
I must say, it was It was pretty painless this year, wasn't it? It was very nice to work with your firm. We got along very well.
Good.
Any questions? Thank you for coming out, John.
Sure.
I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Just a board person.
Well, thank you very much.
We thank Mary Beth for finding me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Christie too.
Christie too, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wears many hats here.
She does. Don't forget that today.
All of them very well.
Right.
So thank you, John.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Yeah.
We have a motion to accept the audit report from Hernan Associates for fiscal year ending 4/30/14. Motion by trustee Sejan. Second by trustee Gregg. Roll call, please, Christie.
Ms. Baker?
Aye.
Mr. Seaver?
Aye.
Mr. Chiz?
Aye.
Ms. Gregg?
Aye.
Mr. McDermott?
Aye.
Ms. Morowski?
Aye.
Ms. Becker?
Aye. Review of schedule of charges and service fees, Mary Beth.
This is the sheet that's in the book, DVD fees, overdues, loss and damage items. We're not making any changes to this. We're not proposing any changes to this year. We are proposing a possible addition to it that we found out about. When we go to our new online catalog in April, patrons will have the ability to pay their overdues online from home, which they can do now, but it's a different system. So all the libraries in Swan are going with protected pay. It's called ProPay. And the fees involved are very competitive with Illinois funds. They're lower than going through a regular bank, and they're protected immediately as soon as the patron does the transaction. However, they recommend that if we want, we can assess a 50-cent convenience fee to each transaction. Today when we did the numbers, they gave us a template to use. And based on last year's activity, if we charged the 50 cents, we would only be incurring about $51 a year in fees for providing the service. If we don't charge it, it will be about $160 a year. And the effective rate is like 30%. So we have our numbers from last year. Our average transaction is $1.35. So when you can think about it, a 40 cents increment to us for $1.35 is kind of a bad deal, especially since you can't limit, you can't say, no, you can't charge anything under $5 on this system. If we had a swipe, we could do that. So I'm laying it out to you. If you want to charge the convenience fee, we can do that. If not, if you consider it the cost of business, that's fine too. I just wanted your opinions on what you thought. I know if you do your driver's license online, if you do your license plates online, if you pay your ComEd bill, you have to pay the convenience fee, and now I understand it's because you're trying to regroup the fees that the banks are charging you. So, do you want to try and recoup that, or just leave it at the cost of doing business? We actually did have one 20-cent transaction last year. So.
Personally, I think as long as you're offering the service, I don't think that's unfair. Sans as we paid for, I got our license online and all the rest. It is a convenience. You don't have to put it in your gas tank. You don't have to take the time to go somewhere. And if more and more people are going to be utilizing this, we don't know what the future is going to bring.
That's a 50 cents per
And
transaction.
you don't know too how, we're going to get cut with tax money coming in or whatever, that we need to cover all bases. And 50 cents isn't that much.
Well, it worried me to see the $100 difference.
Mhm.
I mean, if it was 10, that'd be
Yeah.
one thing. This is, a full $100 difference.
You lose a lot of money,
Well, I think if there was a convenient
to swipe for the pay service. To pay your funds.
Is there a motion to approve a 50 cent convenience fee per transaction for overdue library materials?
Motion.
Motion by trustee McDermott,
I'll second.
second by trustee Murowski. Roll call, please, Christie.
Ms. Baker? Mr. Seega?
Aye.
Ms. Gray?
Aye.
Ms. Chiz? Mr. McDermott?
Aye.
Ms. Murowski?
Aye.
Ms. Becker?
Aye.
So we will add it to this charges and service fees.
Yes.
So if anybody wants to see it, they'll, it's out there in black and white.
Yes.
Right.
We'll avoid a short meeting of the policy committee.
Right.
Pretty short.
Well, it's, we were going over this tonight on
That's fine.
so.
The review of serving our public chapter 1 course standards, Mary Beth.
Okay, this is the chapter of serving our public, that is the basic standards for libraries in Illinois. It's what we started off in January with. Number 1, library has an elected or appointed board of trustees. Library has a qualified library administrator. Library administrator files an Illinois Public Library annual report, otherwise known as IPLAR, with the Illinois State Library, which we have to do within 60 days of the end of our fiscal year. Library administrator prepares monthly reports of operations and services for the board's review. Library administrator and/or library board treasurer prepares monthly fiscal reports for the board's review. Library has a mission statement and a long-range plan. Library maintains an understanding of the community by surveys and other means. Library board reviews library policies on a regular basis. We do that one every month. Library board members participate in local, state, regional, and national decision-making that will benefit libraries. Library develops an orientation program for new board members, which we'll have to meet and discuss probably, maybe board, the board development committee might want to talk about that at a later date. Library board members attend local, state, regional, and national conferences pertinent to libraries when fiscally possible. Library keeps adequate records of library operations and follows proper procedures for disposal of records. There's a whole process that we have to go through with the state library for disposing of just about anything. So that we have to go through. Periodically, they give us the go-ahead, yes, you can throw out this many years of this particular document. And that's the core standards.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Search for new library director. I'm going to appoint a committee. I've already talked to people, trustee McDermott to chair the committee, and trustee Murowski to help with the search for the new library director. Mary Beth's retiring in June 26th. She has posted, I did see it out there, she has posted a job description on the Rails website, which is the primary source of library jobs and elsewhere. The deadline for applications to return to the library in my name is February 28th. So the committee will go through all this, whatever we get, we'll go through those and we'll come down to 1 or 2 or 3 people and have them come in for interviews following the close of that. I sat down with Mary Beth last Friday and I found some questions out on the internet that we could ask potential candidates, and she and Christy went through those and we sat down and went down, and we'll give Tom and Jackie copies of those so you have them ahead of time. The board, of course, is welcome to have any additional questions that you want. I really don't want to release these questions because I don't want some potential candidate getting a gift sheet. And you want to practice ahead of time, and that's the only reason for that. But Tom and Jackie will have that.
We whittled them down to 20.
And I'm down to 20. I found one I had 100 plus, well, there was just not just for library director,
Yeah.
100 plus questions, so we whittled them down to that. So that's the schedule. Won't have to have a meeting with this search committee. And this is an ad hoc committee, so it's just for the purpose of getting a new library director. Won't have to have a meeting until after the close of the application on February 28th. So we'll have to, you and Jackie set it up, and of course I'm on that committee by default. Mary Beth will be on there, she will give us some advice on that, but she'll be non-voting member of that committee. Anybody have any questions about that? Any other business? Public comments, questions? Angela?
Yeah, I have a quick question of why it was asked this time and not last time about what organization we're from.
Because I didn't do it, it's not required.
I was just
We
asking.
have a policy here,
Okay,
I didn't ask,
I
it's,
didn't ask that too, I just asked simply what it was for.
I just didn't do it last time.
Okay,
We
that's all
didn't
I
ask Pat, because Pat is those days on when she comes here quite often, so. Nothing nefarious behind that. Got nothing? Mary? Nothing?
No, sorry.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Motion by trustee Stigall, second by trustee Gray. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
much.